Hello crafty friends, it's Jess from jesscrafts.com, and today I have two cards as part of my Tuesdays with Tupelo Designs LLC, where I'll share some products from the shop. And I'm starting with some distress ink and also distress watercolor paper. I will be doing a little bit of water reactive technique with this, but I'm not doing any watercoloring. I just find that watercolor paper actually blends distress ink really well. So just a suggestion if you find that you're having a little bit of trouble blending your distress ink, or if you're looking for a slightly softer look in the blending. When I really want to create that sort of faded out effect, I do tend to go to the distressed watercolor paper, but I would suggest trying whatever watercolor paper you have on hand, as it just holds ink a little bit different than your standard cardstock. The distress inks that I'm using today are Candied Apple, Mermaid Lagoon, and Squeezed Lemonade. They are primary colors, so I know that they will mix well together. And I started by applying the Candied Apple. I'm working on my craft mat from Tupelo Designs. It's similar to the Ranger craft sheet, just a touch thicker, and you could get it in more sizes. And that leaves some of the ink sitting on the craft sheet. So when I'm switching between colors, I'm being sure to clean my craft sheet so that I don't accidentally pull in some of that color. For the blending tool today, I'm actually using the tool that's made by Mike as opposed to the Ranger tool, as it just kind of sits in your hand a little bit more comfortably rather than the stick that sort of sticks off the Ranger tool, but the little round pads still work well on it. So I have all those little round pads underneath my distress inks. Then I store the pad with the colors. However, I can use it with any of the tools, and so those, like, I guess the better word for than pads would be the foam blending piece. And I'm laying a little bit of the yellow down, then the red, and then the red, then the yellow, then the blue. Then I'm coming back with the two original colors to blend the blue out. And you may have noticed that when I was blending out with the yellow, there got a lot of blue all over my foam. And you might worry that that would contaminate in the future. However, the Ranger foams can simply be run underwater, and you can completely clean them and dry them and use them again. Once I have a blended background that I like, I am taking the Tim Holtz Distress Sprayer. I'm putting it in the lock mode so that only a little tiny bit of water drips out, and then attempting to spray it, it won't actually spray because it's locked, but little droplets will come out and create that perfect little splatter pattern. And a lot of times you can just do this by spraying into your hand and sort of letting it drip onto the paper, but since I have the distress sprayer and it offers that feature, I get a little bit more regularity by using the sprayer instead. And so you see here that it kind of creates a bleached out effect, so it pushes the distress ink away from wherever the water droplets fell. Now I have my background all set, and I'm ready to start working with some stamps. These stamps are from Mint Owl Studio, which is a brand new company to Tupelo Designs LLC, and I'm super excited about that because I'm also on the Mint Owl Studio design team, so I'm able to use their stamps in a variety of videos and show you some different techniques with them. So if you are interested, remember that you can shop at either place because they are partnered together, trying to bring you these fun stamps. So I have first the stars and hearts. I'm using the little stamps from the Sunny Day stamp set, and I'm working to create a little bit of interest in this background. So I have the stars, and I'm stamping them in the distress ink. Distress ink isn't necessarily the best ink for stamping, but it will do a pretty good job, especially solid stamping. You won't get perfect images with it, but it will do a good job for what I'm trying to do, and I'm not trying to do, like, really detailed, like, sentiments you wouldn't want to stamp with distress ink, but these little shapes are perfect. And so I'm just adding a little bit of interest to the background by stamping the shapes in the same coordinating color of distress ink. However, when I go to the Squeezed Lemonade, you can barely see it. And so what I might recommend is, if you were trying to do this sort of tone-on-tone look, you actually pull out a slightly darker color of yellow and give it a shot. And in between, you're going to want to make sure that you completely clean off the stamps, as the colors will blend together. The distress inks are meant to blend, and so if there's any ink left on there, you're not going to get that purity of color. And I do like how there is kind of like a fade effect. The reason that I chose the red, blue, yellow is I knew that they would blend really well together and present almost all the colors of the rainbow. So you would get the red, purple, blue, green, yellow. So it's not the same order as a rainbow, but you get a whole variety of colors. And I knew I would be using the Sunny Day stamp set, which has a lot of fun rainbow sentiments. And if you've been following me for a while, you know that I love to make rainbow colored cards. And so that was definitely a stamp set for me. About 2 weeks ago, I had made a card where I did like 2 cards in one go with some die cutting, and so I decided to try that again today. Since I had created this pretty background, I was going to use a big chunk of it on one card, and that's this card here with the black border on it. But I could use that leftover piece rather than just tossing it. I wanted to make a second card with it, so I have that off to the side there. For this first card, I'm just going to stamp a sentiment because I did so much to the background. It's really the star of the show. I'm not looking to add anything else to it. I'm just putting in that sentiment, may your day be filled with rainbows and sunshine. And then I'm going to come back and work on this black panel that will then be put in the rainbow panel. So that rainbow will be along the edge of it. But this I need to add a lot more detail to since it doesn't have a lot of that elaborate background that I created. So just kind of like, again, a little 2-for-1 idea, not quite as simple as the last one and not as quite as fast, but still just kind of show you that you could, use those leftover pieces. So I'm going to be doing some white heat embossing. It is super important to put down the anti-static for this sort of thing. I find that the white tends to get a little bit more all over the place. With clear embossing powder, I don't always even need to use the static bag, although I always do because I don't like stray embossing bits. But if you get a piece of white where you don't want it, you're going to really notice it on this black background. So be sure to put some sort of anti-static down. There are the bags and the EK Success tool, or even just some cornstarch will do the trick. And so I've stamped the sentiment Bright Birthday Wishes, which is also from the Sunny Day stamp set. And I knew that would work well because I'd have a really bright background. But I wanted to, again, add more to it, so I went in with the clouds as well from the stamp set, and they are outline clouds. I'm not going to be doing any coloring. I'm just going to really let these white images pop off of the black. And so I sort of stagger the 2 clouds so they're overlapping each other, and for a second, I thought that I was finished. Once I got these clouds on there, that I might be done with the card, but I come up with a fun idea to really tie in that birthday sentiment. When you're heating this, you're going to want to, of course, make sure that your heat gun is hot before you come to the paper, as that tends to be a little bit less warping there, but you could always fix the warping by adding a little bit more adhesive. So I placed it in the frame, didn't quite think it was finished, and I went to the Some Bunny stamp set from Mint Owl Studio because it had these really cute little heart balloons. I thought, well, perfect. I would really make it say birthday more than what I had on the card currently. And what's fun is that string has a little curve to it, but because it's a clear stamp, you can make the string curve in any way that you like. So I sort of hover it over my block, and it's clear so I can see right through it. And then I just adjust the string till it's kind of hanging down in a way that I like. So you see I have 2 different balloons stamped there, and the string is hanging in 2 different ways already, and then I'm making a 3rd way. So you can do whatever you want with it, and definitely a fun thing about clear stamp sets. You're not able to do that with rubber because it's not as flexible and that sort of thing. So once I have my 3 balloons on there, working on that rule of odds, that generally looks more appealing, and you see here that I have 2 clouds, 3 balloons, still that odd. So I was kind of always keeping that in mind, and I think that is going to be it for the 2 cards today. So you take all that time to create that really fun background and think about how you might be able to get just a little bit more use out of it by taking a big chunk for one card and then taking that little border piece and doing another card. It's a great way to make more cards in less time. And I'd love to hear from you guys if you have any other time-saving tips with card making. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're interested in more crafting tutorials, be sure to subscribe to my channel. Remember that Tupelo Designs is having free shipping with any order this month, and also a free blending tool like I showed in the video. The link to Tupelo Designs LLC is in the video description below. Thanks for watching. Bye.